You've heard me talk about the UFOs with the night vision goggles, and see for yourself what shows up there in the December issue of the After Dark magazine. Regular guest Charles Ostman, his story into the future, talks about this strange phenomenon. Also read about Coast to Coast AM guest Eric Pearl and his reconnective healing technique. And some Coast to Coast AM listeners who have had such remarkable results. They've become practitioners themselves. There's even an exercise that you can do at home to feel the energy of self-healing, and my editorial on my personal feelings about the magical holiday of Christmas. It's all in that December issue of the After Dark magazine, written exclusively for Coast to Coast AM listeners every month. Subscribe now by calling 1-888-727-5505. The lines are open. 1-888-727-5505. It's $39.95 for 12 monthly issues. Go online at coasttocoastam.com.
You never know what you'll hear on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie.
This time period over the next 3 years, I think, could be one of the most dramatic times to live that we have ever witnessed. Beyond tragedies of JFK, beyond the tragedies of 9/11, I'm talking in terms of humanity, living in a time period where we could go either way.
What troubles me now, George, is that we seem to come full circle. Today, look at the current sense among the world's modern populations who are standing there saying, we need somebody to come and save us from our spiritual, political, financial chaos. The psychological condition of the world today, if it's not careful, is setting itself up for the dawn of this new world order, which in essence is going to be slavery that we buy into because we are so desperate for somebody to come and save us now.
Now we take you back to the night of May 11th, 1995, on Art Bell, Somewhere in Time.
Let's define again airborne. You have said, contrary to what the CDC is saying, that this is airborne. What do you base that on? Quickly.
A nurse described airborne to me this morning over a talk show that I was on, called in and said, let me give a definition of airborne. A person coughs or they sneeze. Normally you would put your hand up to your face if you're in company. Then in turn that hand would touch a doorknob. The nurse said, any person within 7 feet of you, even if you're talking loud, and your mouth is open, and some particles come out of the mouth. Within 7 feet, a person could be described as contracting what you have airborne. So we need to understand the definition of airborne. Now, if you want to say that airborne is that you've got to well, let's say they're saying it's not airborne, but we've got to go back to what the true definition of airborne is from a nurse.
Well, if it's not airborne, one might ask why the CDC people who work on it need spacesuits.
Exactly right. Why would they go over there with all of this? Now, I was talking this afternoon with the owner of one of the largest herbal companies in America, supplement companies, and it seems that they have 3 doctors on staff to make sure that they do everything meticulously perfect.
Right.
One of their doctors was in contact with a friend of his at the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, Georgia, this afternoon. And the person there stated that the equipment that they were seeing go out of the Center for Disease Control with the people who are going to Zaire indicated a major disaster. He said they are not taking just ordinary equipment that they would take along for something simple. He said this is major, and he indicated to this individual that he felt that all of the precautions and the equipment and everything that was going out indicated that many more people had died than what had been indicated in the news media.
Did he give you a number?
No, he did not give a number because he could not confirm anything, and he was fearful to say anything further. But it was stated so well in the New York Times, quote, health officials around the world, including those of the United States, have long been known to lie about confirmed of outbreaks of communicable diseases, September the 27th, 1994.
I'm sure.
So why shouldn't we take this as what's happening right now? After all, they do not want people to panic.
All right, to retrench this ground, and then we're going to the phones, Lindsay. I think they do lie, and I think they should lie. I've thought a lot about this, and I just can't see what positive effect it would have for them to tell the American, let's say that it was airborne, let's say that it's not at all in control, or that there are no good prospects for controlling it, and they can draw all the lines in the sand they want over there, it's going to keep on trucking. What value would there be to tell the American people that, put them into a steep panic, and with God knows what results? In other words, it's not going to help anybody find a cure, and I'm sure they're working hard on that, or a better way to stop it. If anything, panic would probably spread it faster.
Well, Art, I'm glad they aren't telling the truth. In fact, if there happens to be any person listening tonight from the Center for Disease Control, my advice would be, please don't tell the facts exactly as they are, because this is the most lethal virus that medical science has ever come in contact with. We who have been lecturing on this subject for the past 2 years and writing books and articles on it have hoped that this particular one, the Ebola virus, would not break out. I hope this doesn't go any further. I want it to stop right where it is. Let's take something like strep A and the flesh-eating disease and go back to simple things.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, Lindsay, why are these awful things, the various strains of Ebola, AIDS, all coming out of Africa?
I'm not quite sure.
I appreciate the honest answer. I'm not either. I don't know that anybody really knows. It's just a really good question, so I thought I would ask it. Quickly to the phones. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Lindsay Williams. Hi.
Yes, Art.
Where are you, sir?
I'm in Bourbon, Missouri.
All right.
And I have a couple of comments. First of all, the word airborne is in error. Okay?
In error?
In error.
Well, that's two words. Airborne, all right. In error in what sense?
Well, first of all, a disease that's transmitted by a cough is considered to be vectored by aerosols.
Okay.
That's proper terminology.
In other words, it is not borne on the wind, as it were.
Right.
But
and when you consider it, you cause a lot of confusion in this because you consider this virus wafting along for miles on the wind.
No, I don't want people to misinterpret. Airborne as in the sense of one person being able to give another person a flu by sneezing or coughing in their immediate environment.
Well, actually, the flu is most often transmitted by physical contact, by touching a hand or something like this. That's why you can wash your hands and minimize...
So then you're really underscoring what Mr. Williams has been saying.
Well, what I'm saying is an aerosol is a finely divided mist. It actually has a micron size in order to be considered to be an aerosol. And these aerosols can travel a distance of 7 to 12 feet, depending upon
so in that
of ejection.
Okay, in that sense, and in the confines of the definition you just gave us, is Ebola airborne?
From what I've heard you saying, okay, airborne is not the correct word.
So then you would say it is what?
It is vectored by aerosols. Vectors...
Well, okay, that seems to me, though, thank you for the vectored by aerosols. I'm not sure that I'm able to discern the difference.
Art, I think the best visual illustration of this, and I agree with the caller, it's just a matter of terminology here. The best visual illustration of this was in the movie Outbreak, where a person was sitting, I believe, in a movie theater. They coughed, and it actually showed the particle.
It did, yes.
And it went right into the mouth of the person that was laughing or breathing next to them.
I recall.
It's a matter of definition.
All right, and well, definitions are important. The word airborne is a very frightening word when it comes to a disease like Ebola. Now, rather than engage Lindsay again, I'm going to go ahead and break here at the bottom of the hour. Some of this very difficult to digest, very indigestible. And I'm sorry that on my last night for about 10 days or so, we've got to be hip deep in But then again, every time I've ever gone on vacation, we always are, so I don't know why I'm surprised. More on the Ebola outbreak and Zaire in a moment. Lindsey Williams is my guest.
You're listening to Art Bell Somewhere in Time on Premier Radio Networks. Tonight, an encore presentation of Coast to Coast AM from May 11th, 1995.